Hello. Oh, there we go. Um, yeah, hi. My name is Brandon, as Lester already said. So today I'm just here to share my testimony with you guys. Okay, so what I'm actually gonna start with is I'm gonna just in the last few weeks we got to hear people's testimonies. Amazing it is, but the one thing that really stood out in each testimony was the main character, and the main character was God. As how Kezia's testimony was different from Pida's testimony, and Pida's testimony was different from Greg's testimony, and then today's Caitlin's testimony was different from all three. But the cool thing is how their lives were so different and situations were so different, but one thing that remained the same, and one thing that was consistent, and one thing, the main character was God. So this is my testimony. It may be different from yours, but I know and I believe that God is working through our lives in a different way, but achieving the same result. There are different people, different situations, but the same God, the never-changing God. So my testimony today is, I'm going to share like the one time God just was so faithful and just came after me. And how I was a broken vessel, but yet God kept filling me up. And how He kept chasing after me. I can't express the amount of times that as I went away, He still kept coming after me. I'm going to just water quickly. So I grew up going to church with my mom. There was no two ways about it. It was you going to church. Every single Sunday, I found myself at church. There was no if, buts, or maybes. It was just absolute. You absolutely going to church. There's church. Sunday is church. From 8 or 9 o'clock, I was at church. I was late sometimes, but I was still at church. So I grew up going to church. I went through Sunday school, teens, which is youth. I went through all that. So with me going up around church meant that I could quote scriptures in different situations. But the time I quoted scriptures when in Sunday school was I wanted sweets. It was sweets up for grabs. If you can quote a scripture, you get a sweet. That was for me. That was amazing for me. But at the same time, not knowing that me quoting scripture, that time God was preparing myself for what the future would hold for me. When the going gets tough, when life gets hard, I can go back to those scriptures and quote them. So I'm 21 years old. I may look small, but I'm 21 years old. The reason why I'm saying this is I think in 5 months, it's January, and I was born in January. I'll be expecting presents. I'm fishing out for presents. I'm just fishing out for presents. Yeah. No, for real. This actually relates to my testimony as how God worked in my life. So, as I said, I'm 21 years old, but I did not have the best time in high school. I was not the brightest, and like my high school career was probably the hardest part of it all. So, with that being said, I finished high school last year, or this year. Is it last year? I was in matric last year. So when you do the maths, meaning I finished high school when I was 20 years old. I think for me, that time last year, being 20, being in high school, sitting around the classroom with people who are 16, 17, 18, for me, that really hurt me the most. I look at my age mates, people who are 20, already in university, getting degrees, but yet I was in a classroom learning with people who are 16, 17, and 18. In that time, I did not see a way forward for me. I did not see the light at the end of the tunnel. Cool, I finished high school, but what was I going to do after high school? Cool, I can go to university, but I'm going to study something that I don't want to study. So I did not see the light at the end of the tunnel. And then again, this time, I can say I could go back to scripture and quote scripture. But there's one thing I heard, it's easier to quote a scripture than to live in the scripture. It's easier for me to say Psalms 28, verse 7, the Lord is my strength, my shield, my heart trusts Him. I was helped, my heart rejoiced, and I thank him with my song. Sounds so nice, so fantastic. When you say it, you get so energy. But what does that mean in my life? Do I take that scripture and apply it in my life? It's easier for me to say Philippians 4 verse 13. I can endure all things through the power of the one who gives me strength. Sounds so good again. Sounds amazing. Put that on a t-shirt. It's cool. But what does that mean? How do I take the scripture and apply it to my life? As Christians, we taught to love, we taught to trust God, and to rejoice in Him. For me, I found this very hard. Background story, my dad passed away when I was very young. So he passed away in the month of January. As I say, January was my birthday month. So how do I love? How do I trust? When my dad was sick, how do I trust? I trusted you, God, to make him go through this. How life will be so different if he was around. How life will look so different if he was around. How do I love when I'm struggling to see the good in me? How do I love when I've been hurt by those who loved me? How do I love when everything around me is broken? Now looking back into 2021, in a time where I saw no light, I saw no hope, I did not see the light at the end of the road, to looking into 2022, just being okay with what happened, just putting my faith and trust in God. I just have a scripture. I'm just going to read from 2 Corinthians 4, verse 18. He says, "So we fix our eyes not on what is seen, but what is unseen. For what is seen is temporary, but what is unseen is eternal." I had no hope. I wanted to believe there was a future for me. I was looking to see for something. I was looking to see if there was something to look forward to. Hope. Not knowing all I needed was to look at hope. But hope is not a thing. Hope is a person. And the person's name is Jesus. He is our rock. He is our firm foundation. Going back to the main character, here I was last year facing the real challenge. I thought I was hopeless. I did not have hope last year. Philippians 4, verse 13. It speaks about enduring through things. And we must put our trust in God, who gives us strength. Even when I'm hurt, what if I'm too weak? How do I endure all things? Even when everything is going wrong, physically, emotionally, I'm tired. How do I get the strength to go through that? I'm going to read from the book of Romans 8, verse 24 to 25. "For in this hope we were saved. Now hope that is seen is not hope. For who hopes for what he sees? But if we hope for what we do not see, we wait for it with patience." I think for me, I wanted God to work the way I want him to work. I wanted God to move the way I want him to move. But with that being said, if God moved the way I want him to move, if God worked the way I wanted him to work, I wouldn't be standing right here speaking to you guys. The main thing is God is bigger than our ways. He's far greater than what we think. What we think that could work now might not work in the future. is far bigger, far greater than we can ever imagine. He is the King of Kings. One thing that stood out for me is how God moved in our lives. Different people, but yet the same God. The never-changing God. We all have our journeys to take. The thing is, I had hope, but I looked at what I could do, not who I can trust. If I had to look with my own eyes, I saw no hope. But thank God, He sees all things. When I see hopelessness, He sees hope. Leading into this year, in 2022, as Lester said, being an intern at City Hope Church, this was not in my eyes last year. This was not in my sight last year. But God works in amazing ways. Now I get to share, as Lester said, share a desk with amazing people, share an office with amazing people, because I decided to put my trust and faith in God. Even when I saw no hope, He saw all things. And this is my testimony. Thank you.